Hello and welcome. My name is Danny, and today I had the supreme displeasure of waking up to find a mouse in my house. And so, in not so loving memory of this mouse, we are going to be building a cheese catalog application. That's right, we're going to be using Express, Node.js, and TypeScript to build an application with the sole purpose of cataloging cheese that we might bring into our homes. And the application is going to be pretty straightforward, but what I thought we might do, just to make things a little bit more interesting, is use this package, which I'm excited to use. I've kind of just looked through here just to see how it works before the video. And we're going to be generating QR codes for every single entry that we add to our catalog. And then what you could do if you really wanted is print that entry out, or print, sorry, that QR code out. Affix it to your newly purchased cheese, and then use it to, look up every cataloged piece of cheese using your phone, so long as the application is up and running. So that's what we're going to do. Pretty stupid, pretty useless, but let's just get into it. And every stupid, useless project needs a magnificent name, and I think that because this is an application, as I've said before, that catalogs cheese, Cheesalog is certainly an appropriate name. So let's open this up. And so we ran yarn init. Now we're gonna generate our TypeScript config file. And let's just get started here by opening this up in VS Code. And wow, I'm just gonna try to close Netflix open in a different browser here. Just close some stuff to hopefully let the fan cool down a little bit. Okay. Let's see. Let's add some dev dependencies. TypeScript NodeMon, which I have installed globally, but we'll add it anyways. We'll add the node types just in case we need them. We'll add the Express types for when we add Express. I would like to generate my own IDs for each entry, so we're going to go type/unique ID. I already know that that package doesn't have types, and I think that's all for now in terms of dev dependencies. And then let's add, let's see, Express QR code, I believe, is what we need from this. Yep. And we will also be using, like I said, unique ID. And finally, I don't actually want to have to go through the trouble of setting up a database like Mongo or an SQL database. So let's just use a package that I like to use called JSON Server. And if you've never used this package before, it's actually pretty cool. And it is pretty useful, actually, just for this kind of prototyping and stuff. So you might actually accidentally learn something here, but if you're not familiar with it, I'll include the link below. And actually, because we're using JSON Server, I want to add concurrently so that we can have like a single command that's going to start a transpiler, start our JSON server, start our actual server, just to kind of reduce how many consoles we have to have open here. Okay. So as usual, my tsconfig, I need to get rid of this. Oopsies. You can see what I was doing before. Okay, there we go. Just copied from another project on this channel. Our out directory is dist, our root directory is source, so let's make source. And we're gonna create our server.ts file. And then let's go and console.log hello world, so that once we get this hooked up, we'll just know that it's working. And then now let's start creating our scripts. Just gonna copy that. So first things first, we'll do watch server, which is going to be nodemon dist/server.js, and not server, sorry, this should be serve DB, which is going to be JSON server. And we are going to pass it this Q command so that it doesn't output a bunch of stuff into our console. We are going to also say watch a file at the root of our directory called db.json, which we're about to create. If you don't create it, I believe it creates it for you. And I think, oh, let's also set the port to be 3001 so that we can just keep 3000 free for our application. We could have done it the other way around, but it doesn't really matter. And finally, we'll just have a start command, which is going to be concurrently with a -k to kill all processes if one dies. Watch and yarn serve and just match any, not server, yarn serve, match any of those. And let's see if this worked. Yarn start. Of course, it had trouble the first couple seconds there because we didn't have a disk folder yet, but now it seems to be working just fine. I do just want to show you. If we go here, oh yeah, it created this for us. Like I said, it will do it by itself. And just using RESTful endpoints, like you can, like HTTP requests, it allows you to query this file basically as if it's an API where you have each collection defined at the top level and each document as an object in an array of objects. So we're going to get rid of all of these because we don't need them. We just need cheeses, which for now will be empty. So if we go back and go like this, we can see cheeses, empty, and that's it. So basically our database, our data source, whatever you want to say, is up and running, and that's probably all we need to do with that. Next is just our, oopsies, self-invoking function to get things going here. Let's just set up our Express server. So let's go const, import Express from Express. And let's go and const app equals Express. App.use express.json because we know that our data is all JSON, so we want to be able to get parse the request body. And app.get, so just our health route, which is going to be request res.send okay. Our catch-all might as well, since we're here. Res, and this is going to be res.send. This is not the cheese that you are looking for. And finally, let's do app.listen, port 3000. And then we're also, instead of just the callback right away, we're going to include this here, which basically will allow us to access this server from other devices on the local network. And then finally the callback. Console.log app cheesalog is listening on port 3000. Of course, if we were actually building something that we wanted to use for something legitimate, you know, we wouldn't be hard coding this value. We'd be using .env and all this stuff, but for now, this should be okay. So let's see if this works. Okay, so cheesalog is listening on port 3000. So that means if I go here, localhost 3000, I get this okay, which is great. Okay, so we are going to extremely over-engineer this application. Let's start by just creating all the folders that we're going to need. Let's have a folder for our routes, even though we're only going to have one. We'll do a folder for our models, even though we're only going to have one. Handlers and controllers. So basically, what I'm doing here is any of these functions will be handlers, and anything that accesses our quote-unquote database or data source will be in the controller. And controller only really does one thing. So only one type of operation. There's no like conditional logic. You'll see what I mean when we get going. That's just the way that I like to do it, but you do whatever you want as long as it works. Okay. I guess let's just define first our model. Actually, scratch that. So I'm going to go here first, and I'm going to define our router first. cheese.route.ts. Okay, and here we're going to import router from Express. So I'm going to be using the module pattern. You don't have to do this, but I'm just going to be doing that just because, like I said in my last video, I've been really liking it for whatever reason. So I'm going to stick with it. And so const, let's see, router equals router. And so router dot get. And we're going to have a handler here eventually, but for now we'll just do res.send, which is, oh, I guess I need to request and response. Now we can do res.send cheeselog. And finally we're going to return the router here. And we're going to export default cheese router. And finally, we're going to go here and we're going to just, underneath this, app.use cheese router. And that should give us what we need. So if I go here and app.use cheese router, and this is for the let's just call this cheese, and now this should work. Okay, there you go, cheeselog. Okay, so I'm actually gonna just stop this video here and do this next part in a second part where we implement all the logic, just so that these videos don't get too long as some of my other ones have done. So just go on to part 2, which I will post immediately after this one, to see how we're going to implement just our basic CRUD operations as well as handling this QR stuff.